Within the past few years, we've been seeing how much overconsumption is just completely taking over people's lives. Sometimes it's under the guise of wellness, entertainment, or just wanting a lot of stuff. And in my opinion, with this overconsumption, we're seeing more and more how people are tying their identities to the brands that they're buying. So instead of being a collector, you're a Sunny Angels girl. There seems to be no clean girls without their Rhode Beauty lip gloss holder case thing that holds their Rhode Beauty lip gloss. And most notable and probably notorious of all, there is no Disney adult without Disney. I've been watching a lot of videos recently about people critiquing overconsumption, and I agree with a lot of it, but today I want to focus more on how and why people seem to be tying these brands to their personalities. Maybe not even realizing that their personal identity is beginning to align with their favorite brand's brand identity. Before we begin though, this is kind of a complicated topic when you think about it, because the things we own and the content we consume is a part of what makes us who we are. But I think there's a fine line between using stuff as self-expression and owning something to own it, either for the brand name, social influence, or just to fill the void. Basically, to sum up the point of this video, if you were to list off your hobbies or things that you would say are a part of your personality, and a good majority of those rely on a brand, then I think you should reflect on your habits. To kind of get our toes wet before we dive headfirst into the black hole that is making a brand your personality, I want to talk briefly about a product that's been beaten to death when it comes to the overconsumption topic, and that is the Stanley Cup. I'm not really going to be focusing on the overconsumption of the Stanley Cup today, but instead I want to focus on the brand, so stay with me. The brand itself sort of morphed itself into its consumer base and vice versa. Even like 5 years ago, the Stanley brand was typically targeting the manly men of the world, you know, the ones that do construction and whatever else manly men do. And then sometime within the past 2 years, the Stanley Cup became the new It Cup, dethroning the Queen Hydro Flask, which then brought in a completely different clientele. And we saw in real time how people were getting personally attached to the brand. People have dedicated TikTok pages to how they get their Stanley ready for the day. They collect them by the dozens like trinkets and put them on a shelf, never to be touched again. And people show them off as much as possible just so that you know that they indeed have a Stanley Cup. Actually, they have 100 of them. It's mostly women who engage with the Stanley brand like this. Not that it really matters, because there is a bunch of pointless shit that men make their personalities as well. My point in making this distinction is because Stanley went from hard-working boy brand to becoming a brand that targets cute girls that go to Pilates and they put little backpacks on their cups. This change, like almost everything, is fueled by making money and pushing products. However, without consumers making these cups such an important part of their lives, needing to buy the newest cup, going as far as fighting people in Target for them, then I don't think Stanley would have shifted their branding. This isn't groundbreaking information that business wants to make money, so they target the people that are mostly buying it. However, what I do think is interesting is it seems like these people that are obsessed with these cups and these items are aware that they are being target marketed, and they like want to be a part of the community. And by community, I'm saying that very loosely. Because my computer is tracking my every move and listening to me talk, I actually got a Stanley ad when writing this video, and the ad was women like sipping their Stanley after doing a yoga class, which is much different from the ads they made like 3 years ago, which were a bunch of people camping or running around outside or whatever you do when you're a manly man.
Hi, this is editing, me interjecting real quick. While I'm editing this video real time, I just got a fucking email from Stanley via Safe Opt. I never signed up for this. I went on their website about 15 minutes ago. Unlock 50% off from Stanley. I feel like this has to be like some form of illegal. I just went on your website. How did you get my email? Okay, that's it. But I feel weird.
Which is smart of Stanley, even though I don't want to admit that, because when the cups became more popular last year, if they would have stuck with the outdoor camping vibe, then it wouldn't have inclined the customers to buy more because they wouldn't see themselves in the product. But I guess what I don't understand is how the hell did people convince themselves that being a Stanley girl was more than just being a trend hopper or being someone who has a shopping addiction? This somehow actually isn't the first time we've seen a water bottle become a key part of people's personalities or aesthetics. If you remember in 2019, we had the Visco girls, fuck, I don't remember what it is now. But the Visco girls, they predominantly used hydro flasks, which I mentioned earlier in the video. The hydro flask was a staple of the persona along with scrunchies and something else I don't remember, but if you saw anyone who was a self-proclaimed Visco girl, they had a hydro flask, and if you saw anyone making fun of these self-proclaimed Visco girls, they also had a hydro flask in the video.
What is this? This is a hydro flask. You don't know what a hydro flask is?
And it does make sense a little bit that people begin to identify with their water bottle, because usually it is something that you're carrying around every single day. It's like almost an extension of your arm. I have a water bottle and I carry it around everywhere. If I lost it, I would be a little sad, I'm not gonna lie. But I remember back in the 2019 Visco days, people used to love to decorate their hydro flasks, putting little stickers of like bands or sayings or things that they like on the bottle, just customizing it, you could say. And now people will buy the Stanley and then refuse to take off the packaging because they want it to remain intact in its branded way.
The packaging was so cute, I had to get it laminated.
I'm not sure where the shift happened, where people went from wanting to personalize something and having one that you really made your own to buying 30 different reusable cups, completely defeating the point of them being reusable, and then not wanting to even do anything with it, so you can't even personalize it in the way that I mentioned with the Visco girls. So instead of having a personal attachment to your water bottle, you have a personal attachment to being a Stanley girl. My point with bringing up the Stanley cup, and I'll bring it to a close here, it's just a very good example of how these corporations are profiting on people getting emotionally, personally attached to these items that they're selling and buying them under the guise of being a part of a community, or even worse, being a part of their identity. Over the years, I feel like I've seen the evolution of how people go about choosing to buy their makeup products they use. When I was younger, watching beauty routines, which is the equivalent of watching Get Ready With Me's in this day and age, in my memory, there was less focus on using a product because it was a certain brand and more focus on using the product because it was good.
Then I use my Garnier tinted eye roller under my eyes. I like to use this especially in the morning because it's cool and it gives me a little bit of coverage.
There was definitely a lot of sponsored content back there, and there was probably even more than now, more sponsored content that wasn't being disclosed to the people watching. But when I think of some of the most popular products at the time, around 2015, 2016, that product to me is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. It was popular because of the colors in it and not because of the brand behind it. While makeup brands back then still had a brand look, maybe they focused on similar color tones in a lot of their makeup, or their packaging had a specific look to it. But their packaging wasn't what sold the product, it was the actual product. In my opinion, this is different than today, especially when we consider the involvement that celebrity makeup brands have in the makeup industry today. People will jump on the chance to buy a lip gloss because Hailey Bieber is selling it without even knowing what the lip gloss is, what color it's gonna be, if it's good, but they want to buy it. And they want to buy it because they want to be a part of her brand. When I say be a part of her brand, I mean people want to emulate what Rhode Beauty and Hailey Bieber herself are putting out as their aesthetic look. And the best way to emulate that look is to buy what she sells. Rhode Beauty sells the clean girl, but it's a symbiotic relationship. Clean girls are influenced to buy Rhode Beauty because they're under the impression that it will give them the look, aesthetic, aura that Hailey Bieber has. Since Rhode Beauty sells so many of these products, they lean even harder into their branding, getting people excited to even just show off the logo because it fits into the consumer's desired look.
Of course, all of these products will need a home, and this bubble bag looks way bigger than the current one. And I love that the logo will be way more visible.
And this goes back and forth until people are basically just walking billboards for the brand. And I knew people were obsessed with it whenever she sold the lip gloss holder case, like the phone case. And while I think the lip gloss phone case is fun, it's like, how did you convince people to buy that and buy multiple of that? So while people think they're making themselves look more like Hailey Bieber, they're actually making themselves look more like HR Beauty LLC. And okay, the reason I picked Rhode Beauty is because the people that buy her products are obsessed with them. And also because I can never get over the lip gloss case. The lip gloss case is so funny to me. And it's not even just the phone case that people went crazy for. There was a video floating around TikTok, which sort of partially inspired this idea, where this girl who seemed to be in college, no clue though, definitely old enough to not be acting like this, but she posted a video of herself screaming, berating her mother because her mother wasn't sending her money fast enough so she can buy the newest drop of the Rhode Beauty lip gloss.
Okay, it's 10:59. Drops at 11.
What are you buying?
Nothing.
Right.
Okay, well, if I didn't have to pay for my own gas now, my own groceries.
Lauren, I've been giving you $125 a month.
That pays for gas twice! That's nothing!
And I know that's an extreme example of what I'm talking about right now, but when I watched the video, like, I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised. And I'm pretty sure I saw someone say afterwards that she got the lip gloss and she was like, I don't like it. But I guess my point with this is people think that buying this makeup will add to their personality, when the only thing it adds is maybe a little bit to their personal aesthetic. And you might be thinking, isn't makeup always just adding to your personal aesthetic? And I say no. There's so many ways to use makeup to show off your personality without relying on the actual brand name to do the personality telling. Back to celebrity brands though, it wasn't always like this. There's always been celebrity brands, but typically they were more just like celebrity endorsements. Think about like L'Oreal hair, when you'd see the celebrities, you know, doing their celebrity thing. But where this changed, in my opinion, is when the Kylie lip kit dropped. This was one of the first products I remember people buying purely because of a celebrity and like the name attached to it, rather than because they liked it, which some people liked it. Some people hated it. I remember people saying it was very sticky and it like cracked a lot or something. I don't remember. I never got one. Aww. But 15-year-old me did indeed want it. Don't get it wrong. I wanted to be a part of the King Kylie brand. Not that I feel that way anymore though. So while there are a lot of great celebrity brands that put out really good products, there's also a lot of celebrity brands that put out products that are just really preying on the parasocial relationship that people have with said celebrity to sell the product. And I think that's why I feel weird about it. Okay, with this one, I am sorry in advance, because I know and agree that blind boxes are very cute and very fun, but you're gonna have to hear me out on this one. When it comes to blind boxes and collecting toys, I feel like there's a fine line between fun and taking it way too far. As much as I love seeing people get excited over the cute little figurines that they're pulling, the only thing that I can think about is how much money these businesses are making off of little plastic toys that probably cost $2 to make, if that. My one rebuttal to my own argument that I'm gonna make is I do appreciate the art that comes with them, especially when they're authentic, so I can appreciate it in a true collector way. But in my opinion, a lot of the time people buy these products for the thrill of opening it and taking a video. And with how popular they become on social media in the past few years, I can't help but think that it's just another phase that people are going through, making it their whole personality just to get bored with it and throw away eventually. And this opinion is reinforced because I see these things everywhere. Boxed, unboxed, people taking them places like it's their damn dog. People having dedicated channels to opening up new blind boxes every day. And even some people getting dressed to match their Sunny Angel, which is cute in my opinion. Not hating on that, but it's just another way of showing that it's people's whole personality. But in the end, it's just another form of escapism through products, being fueled by companies who just want to get as much money out of the people that are buying them. And the more emotionally attached you feel to a product, the more you're gonna buy it. I keep seeing videos of people waiting in long ass lines to buy certain blind boxes, and I can't tell you what to do with your time. Like, if you have a day off, go ahead. But I think it just shows how far people will go to get that short burst of serotonin that is opening a blind box. My point with this is I feel like there's a time when you cross a line from being a collector to just being someone who likes to buy stuff. I feel like a collector usually has a very specific collection, maybe 1 or 2, 3 specific collections, and they're slowly built over time, and typically they want to keep them forever. But if your collection is every possible thing that you can get your hands on, then it's no longer a collection, you're just an overconsumer. Now let's talk about the final boss of a corporation that has convinced so many people that being utterly obsessed with their business is a personality trait. And that boss is Disney. And I'll admit it, I love a good Disney movie. I like watching people vlog going to the Disney parks. They're just so full of whimsy and life, I can't help it. And I definitely understand the emotional attachment with Disney because it kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of people's childhoods, the movies they grew up watching, the place where they spent time in the summers. But some people take it to such an extreme. Disney, especially like going to a Disney park, is so funny to me because the Disney parks, I always like to say, are fake reality. And it is kind of fun when you go for a few days, but you can't live like that. Disney adults have been made fun of on the internet countless times, so I'm not really going to join in on the dog pile today. However, it doesn't make it any less weird when you think about the fact that there's literally a Disney college and people go there every single day, or like as many days as they can. And some people even live on the property of Disney. Actually, I don't know if that exists anymore. There was a thing, it was called like 100 Oaks or something. It's like you could literally live on Disney and like all the houses were themed and they were like stupid expensive, but I don't know if people actually live there anymore. I'll put it in here if people do. Because the nostalgia fuels buying these Disney products, it feels less like buying a Disney product and more like joining a fun community of other Disney lovers. Which I guess you are kind of joining the community by buying the products, but this community is backed by a corporation that made $34.2 billion last year. Anyways, aside from that, I want to focus on the Disney College program because it's one of the things blows my mind. Because if there's a group of people that knows how to make a business their personality, it is like 80% of the people that attend the Disney College program. So the Disney College program, if you don't know what it is, it's sort of an internship, but not really. So you apply and it's like the whole process, sort of similar to going to regular college. But then the outcome of getting accepted is usually you just have some random ass job.
I got merch! I'm in sales! I'm in sales!
You can apply for more relevant roles that would apply to your major that you're studying or just your career in general. Like say you're studying hospitality, you could get placed at a hotel, so it's like more valuable. But a lot of people that go just end up working a random retail job. And I say that with no shame because I'm also a person who works a random retail job. But overall, it seems like the biggest reason people do this program is so they can live at Disney, which sounds fun, but from what I've read, Disney pays absolutely horribly. So you barely make any money when you're working. And because a lot of these people are Disney obsessed, they end up just spending all of their money at Disney.
I woke up at 5 a.m. and got ready for my morning shift at Hollywood Studios. I was so tired that I barely filmed anything. After my shift, I got in my car and got ready to go to Magic Kingdom to meet up with my 4 friends. Right when I got at Magic Kingdom, I went right to Sleepy Hollow to get some breakfast.
So essentially Disney somehow figured out how to make a voluntary company town, which if you don't know what a company town is, basically way back when, coal mining businesses would own whole towns for their workers to live in, which then the people that lived there were paid in company scrips, which company scrips are the form of currency that they use, but it wasn't real money. And because it wasn't real money, people only had the option of using the company scripts at the businesses that the company town owned, essentially trapping people in the company towns. With all that in mind, I think I can see how it's easy to make Disney your whole personality. And why I think it's concerning is because Disney makes so much money preying on people's desire to want to feel like a kid again. And it's not that I feel like the people that are super invested in Disney need to grow up and like get out of that mindset, because you do what you gotta do to make your life better. But people spending every leftover dollar they have on a company that does not care about them makes me sad. Does any business care about you? No. I was gonna try to think of something else to say after that, but I feel like no is just a whole sentence there. I'm gonna sidestep for a moment here to talk about something that I feel like somewhat relates to what I've been talking about in the rest of this video. And that is with the rise of people wanting to become social media influencers and in general just spending a lot of time consuming social media, I feel like we're beginning to see people literally turn themselves into walking advertisements. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. Today I want to look at the people that do it intentionally. And I'm not necessarily talking about UGC creators because I feel like that's a different thing and that's like not the same thing as wanting to be a social media influencer, but people who want to gain a following like Alex Earl, for example, who blew up for her personality and for her lifestyle. Because I see how Alex Earl lives, not that she wasn't living a rich, fabulous life before she blew up, but they see her and they think that if they follow the steps to become a social media influencers, that their lives will become that, which is raking in the millions and having thousands, millions of adoring fans. Is there anything wrong with people wanting this lifestyle? No, because I feel like we're conditioned to think now that social media influencers live bomb-ass lives, because they kind of do. But where I think it begins to get toxic is when people do gain a certain following that allows them to start to sell things, they immediately sell out. And this is just furthering the cycle that social media should be and is one big advertisement, which then pushes people to overconsume so they can fit in with their favorite social media influencers. I don't think it's always bad for people to have sponsors or do advertisements because, you know, you want to make money. But when it comes to making content, you should be using your advertisements and sponsorships to be able to create the content that you want instead of the other way around. I think a good bad example of this is Darcy McQueenie. Basically all her videos are just some form of an advertisement. You may recognize her from her famous PR unboxings where it's just like mountains of stuff.
I have no idea what's in any of these. 2 months worth of PR packages means 4 days of unboxing.
And people eat it up. I just don't understand how you get to the point of being a content creator where all of the content you create is literally just ads without being low-key greedy. I don't know her at all though. She could be a great person, but it's concerning to see the swarms of people in her comments just like dying, wishing, begging that they could have this much PR so they could do the same thing that she does with it, which is open it and then not touch it again for a year and then eventually throw it away. And that's the problem, because people aren't aspiring to make good content. They're aspiring to be advertisements. For example, there's been many times where I'll see someone make a fun outfit video and maybe it'll be sponsored, but that doesn't always bother me because I know sometimes people are just making their sponsored posts to fuel their content. But then I'll go to their page and it turns out that every single video is a paid sponsorship and every single thing that they own is their favorite thing ever. And that doesn't make me want to buy the product. That makes me want to never trust your opinion again. But I guess there is a market for this content though, as a lot of these pages that are basically just ads have like millions, thousands of people following them and just eating up every little thing that they post. Speaking of paid posts, I want to talk about Tik Tok Shop. I genuinely hate Tik Tok Shop, like deep in my soul. The first part of it that I hate is when you open the TikTok app, there's a little coupon just lingering in the corner. And that little coupon is used to entice people to click on it, which then it's basically a promotional post that says like, hey, you get like one person to join TikTok, then here's $60 worth of rewards that you can spend on TikTok Shop, aka like AliExpress knockoff Temu ass store. And every time I've looked through it, I've never once seen something and been like, yes, that's a useful thing that I want to buy. But I have to say, I've never had a shopping addiction, thank God, because it is a real addiction that can destroy people's lives, take you into debt. Like, I feel like it's very underplayed when it comes to talking about like shopping online. Like, people do not take it seriously. So when I see that stupid little coupon in the corner, I can't imagine how torturous it is as someone who has a shopping addiction to not want to click on it and immediately buy a bunch of stuff. Another thing I hate is seeing people itching to become or already are TikTok Shop affiliates. I once went down the rabbit hole of people giving advice on to how you can become a TikTok Shop affiliate, and it's just bizarre. A lot of the advice is basically just engagement farming.
Interact with this post if you want into the TikTok Shop affiliate program before you hit 1,000 followers.
Encouraging people to do like following chains and liking from the bottom up, which is like clicking all the buttons and doing whatever that does, which is probably nothing in reality. And then to top it all off, the people that are giving this advice will tell you, go click the link in my bio to join my masterclass of how to become a TikTok Shop affiliate.
You only have a few more hours to sign up for my free TikTok Shop masterclass, where I am going to share with you the secrets to have been able to generate over $600,000 in sales on TikTok.
We don't need a masterclass for that, please. We don't need one. Then after someone does all of that and eventually does get into the creator program, then they have the chance, the morsel of a chance to make some money off of the random shit that they're selling. Because while we see videos of people being like, I made $17,000 in one day from selling this piece of candy, in reality, a lot of people are not even going to make a fraction of that money, even if they try to pump out so many product promotions. I do get how people see joining this program as a way to make extra money or even necessary money, but as more people join the program, it just makes the For You page a new version of QVC. Overall, I think this line between advertisements and real content is just getting blurred, and not in a good way, to the point where people are making posts, sponsoring content, doing these ads, and thinking that they're making genuine content, which maybe, I guess, depending on how you look at it, it could be, but in my opinion, I do not think that it is. But I guess in general, it's just a reflection of our society as a whole now, where somehow we've been convinced that a way to financial freedom is becoming the advertiser, so that businesses don't even need to put any effort into marketing because there's hundreds of people just hoping that they can promote this product to make a small sliver of the money that the business is actually going to make. So I guess my final conclusion with this video is it just concerns me how many people are getting so invested, almost tricked, into caring about these brands and advertisements. Because yes, while we need things to survive, we need money to survive, it's just this big cycle of the businesses always winning. It's diluting the quality of our lives the more we're focused on our material possessions. Because what does a person truly get out of owning a bunch of lip glosses by a certain brand, except for the fact that they have the lip gloss and it makes your lips shiny? But I think what people get out of it the most is saying that they have the thing. So I guess my send-off message, which it always is I don't know, read a book, do some cooking, go outside, talk to your friends, detach yourself from your material possessions. You can't get rid of them entirely, and I know that, but just be mindful of how you're consuming content and products.